Where's my phone?
No, I joined the day one.
Hi everybody, I'm Jeff with Virginia Paranormal Investigations, and tonight we're down here in Colonial Williamsburg, and as you can see, once again there is a lot of people down here. And why are they all here? Well, the answer is Pokemon Go. Normally on a Saturday night around this time, there's still some people here and there, but the Colonial Strip, it's kind of quieting down. There's a few scattered people here and there that you'll see, but there are herds of people walking down the street right now. And I'm not sure if it's related to the Pokemon Go, I'm pretty sure it's not, but for some reason there's cars coming up and down the road that's closed to motor vehicles from 8 a.m. to 10 p.m. So I don't know, but once again what we're here to study is the effects of the increased traffic on the spirits that may linger here in Colonial Williamsburg. And we're going to see if the paranormal activity is at all heightened. We're going to check out a couple places, maybe do some EVP sessions, probably not, once again, because as you can hear all the voices and the cars and everything else, that may be kind of hard to do. But we will do some spirit box sessions, and we'll take some pictures, we'll take some video, of course, like we did last night in Yorktown. So let's wander on down the road here and see what we can find.
So we're here in front of the Peyton Randolph House in Colonial Williamsburg, and this is known to be one of the most haunted houses in Williamsburg. Now, unfortunately, it's also one of the darkest. If you notice behind me, it's painted burgundy, and there's only one very dim light on the very front of the house, which makes it very difficult to get any video or any pictures of the place unless you have some sort of low light settings. But there is a story that if you walk up to the front steps, front door, and you knock, somebody will knock back. We've never heard any knocks back, but people say it's true. So the story about this place is there was a slave that lived here, and in the colonial days she had been taken away from her daughter forcefully for misbehaving, and sold, I believe, to another family in the area. And as she was tied to the horse and taken away, she cursed the house. And there's been a lot of really strange, untimely deaths since that curse was placed on the house. So if you ever happen to come by here, certainly come up and take a knock on the door and see if somebody knocks back. So we'd like to know if there's anyone here with us. Can you tell us your name?
How many are here with us?
Were you taken away from your child?
So that was the Peyton Randolph house, and as Linda said, it is reported to be the most haunted place in Williamsburg, and a lot of tragedy, a lot of deaths there. We did a spirit box session, but it was cut a little bit short because there's like not only a lot of Pokemon Go players down here, but there's a lot of ghost tours. We counted 6 different ghost tours just between the church and the Peyton Randolph house, so it's quite a bit. And of course they're going to the haunted locations. But we're gonna go over now, I think, to the Palace Green, the Governor's Palace Green. And you're supposed to be able to see some stuff in the Governor's Palace. One is you're supposed to be able to see a candle going by the window. And we're going to go over and look for that, maybe do an EVP session or two, and see what we can pick up.
So we're standing here on the Palace Green, and the Palace Green extends quite a distance in either direction from us. It extends all the way up to the Governor's Palace, and flanking this Palace Green are a lot of buildings here, a lot of houses, one of which is the George Wythe House behind us. And the George Wythe House is known to be haunted, as well as the Governor's Palace. So we're going to stand here and see what we can pick up as far as maybe EMFs and maybe do a spirit box session if we're not going to disturb one of the ghost tours, and see what kind of activity we get.
Yeah, the bugs are pretty bad out here, and I'm wandering around with the EMF detector and just a small radius out here on the Palace Green to see if there's any spikes, and so far the needle hasn't left the green, so I'll keep wandering around, and I think we're going to start up the spirit box and see if we can pick anything up on that. There's something, right? A little bit of movement, nothing significant, but I don't know what would be causing that to move, because we're kind of in the middle of a field here.
We would like to know if there's anyone here with us right now.
Can you tell us your name?
Did you live nearby?
How do you feel about all these people being here?
We'd like to know if you were a loyalist.
I'm holding this little device here, and perhaps if you come near it, it'll light up and let us know that you're here.
Is Lady Skipwith here?
Can you tell us where you're from? Here's something you don't see every day. There's a guy standing over there with a lantern. Well, I mean, you kind of do see it every day, but it kind of makes you wonder, how many times do you see somebody that you think is a person and they're actually a ghost? Does it ever happen? I don't know.
So the weird thing is that you do not see historical interpreters here working at night. Usually they have all gone home, probably early evening, and this man just kind of sauntered up the street, stopped and spoke to a woman who was sitting on the steps over here, and is now escorting her off. I think he's probably taking her, back to the other side beyond the veil.
So there you have it, ladies and gentlemen, the Grim Reaper in colonial attire. But nonetheless, we did a spirit box session here, and I didn't really hear. A few scrambled things came through, which were most likely just random voices on the radio, but nothing pertinent, nothing specific to our questions did we hear. And it is interesting. I mean, the amount of people here is just, it's crazy. And the amount of bugs out here on this Palace Green, I'm sure during the video you could see all the moths that were flying in front of the camera, and they were all over the viewfinder and everything. So a lot of bugs out here. Be careful if you're taking pictures at night during the summer. They could appear as orbs, and some people can mistake them for paranormal activity when they're really just bugs. And what we're gonna do now is we're gonna leave the Palace Green here. We didn't see the candle going by either in the window, but we're gonna go walk along the road that goes along the Palace Green, and that's where, if you notice, Linda asked if Lady Skipwith was here with us. And Lady Skipwith, we did a little video about her a little while back, and she's someone that she was at a party at the governor's palace, and she got in a fight with her husband, I believe. I forget the complete details, but nonetheless, she left very upset. And while she was going back, they were staying at the George Wythe house, and while she was going back, she lost one of her shoes, and people heard her running along the cobblestone road with one shoe hitting the pavement, and the other one just a socked foot, if you will. So she went back to the George Wythe house, and legend has it she committed suicide there, and now her ghost can still be heard going along this road. So we're going to run the EMF detector down that road and see if we pick up any spikes, anything interesting, and we'll keep you posted. Let's go head over there. It's right over here. And this, you see a spike right here. It's going up. And this could be very well attributed to this street light over here. And the thing is, I go over towards the street light and it goes down, which is somewhat interesting. Okay, so like I said, this is moving around a little bit here, so I'm trying to figure out why. And I may have lost it.
There's a car coming.
Well, are you serious? I can't find anything anyway.
What was it? Just a fleeting moment?
Yeah.
The needle bounced?
Yeah, that's what I mean. We just walked up the street next to the Governor's Palace Green, and that's weird. Did I seem to move that at all?
No.
Well, that just goes to say, I think this is because there are some kind of underground cables. I see a cover over there and such, which could be attributing to that. But as we're walking along the Palace Green here, up along the street where the ghost of Lady Skipwith is supposedly heard, we were running the EMF detector the whole time, and the needle moved up a little bit. And I stopped, and as you saw in the video, I was trying to find out what the source of this field was. So I went over, I saw a street light next to me, went over towards the street light and it stopped, and I came back towards the road and it went up a little bit again. Now, it wasn't as definite as it is here from the underground cables, but a spike nonetheless that I couldn't determine the source of. So a cop came up and we had to move to get out of his way. And when I went back to that spot after the cop drove by, there was nothing. It was dead. And I can't figure out what was there and now is not there. So that was somewhat interesting. But other than that, really nothing. A lot of people, a lot of ghost tours. And the ghost tours, it's making it hard because every time we go up to a haunted place, one of the 50,000 ghost tours that's going on down here comes walking up, and then we either got to move or stand there and look like idiots. So I do like the latter, but you know, I probably will just keep moving. And I'm not sure where we're going to go from here. Let's talk about it as we walk down the street here and see if there's another location we could potentially hit here in Colonial Williamsburg. So I'd like to point out how this area right here has very high EMF. We're right at the foot of the Governor's Palace Green, and this thing's just going crazy, pretty much the whole length of this sidewalk. And it is, of course, natural causes, most likely. But one interesting thing to note about it is the fact that spirits, of course, as we mentioned before, in theory, they can feed off of high levels of EMF. It's like an all-you-can-eat buffet for them. So, Linda and I were walking and talking along the Governor's Palace Green here, getting some crazy EMF spikes from natural sources, of course. But nonetheless, we're kind of thinking, where could we go to possibly pick up spiritual activity? And we figured, what better place than right outside of the graveyard for the Bruton Parish Church.
Right, right.
So, also, see this? High levels of EMF right here.
Right.
Now, like I said, we're not chalking this up to ghosts by any means. There's a very bright light right there with a cable going into the ground and probably several other cables under the ground here. And given its consistency, you know, it's most likely something natural. Spirits will typically be there and then gone. It won't be a constant.
Right.
But one thing we would like to point out is, as I said earlier, that spirits can feed off of this. So it could contribute to any heightened activity that may be here.
Right.
We're going to break out the spirit box and see what we can pick up. But I'm going to kill this because it's useless.
Yeah.
right now because it's just constantly going on. So, and of course we can't do an EVP session because of the large moths
And cicadas.
and cicadas
Big
and
cicadas.
Pokemon Go players, of course,
Dogs barking.
dogs barking, ghost tours,
Skateboarders.
cops,
Yeah.
cars just driving around the Colonial Strip.
Right.
I don't know.
Right.
But let's start it up and see what we can get.
Okay. And people yelling. Outside Bruton Parish Church, Williamsburg. And here we go.
All right, so we don't mean to trespass, we don't mean to intrude, to be here unwanted by any means, but we'd like to know if there is anybody here with us. If there is, can you tell us your name?
Did you live here in Williamsburg?
How many people are here with us right now?
Did you attend this church?
How do you feel about all these people with their electronic devices?
Why do you remain here?
Hey, something interesting. Kill that for a second. Okay, it's what time?
10:25, thereabouts.
Do you hear organ music?
I'd been hearing it.
Yeah.
Right.
Now, I'm
Yeah.
not saying Phantom of the Opera's in there, but it's kind of interesting for there to be an organ playing.
At almost 10:30 at night.
Right,
Right.
and there were cars out in front of the church earlier.
Yes.
But they
they've
all
cleared
left.
out.
They
Right.
left.
It's gone.
That's interesting. I mean, like I said, maybe someone just stayed late to practice playing the organ at, you know, this time of night.
It could be. I also noticed that most of the lights are off in the church. When you look in there, you can see the windows of the church, and they all look extremely dim. I mean, I don't see any light there. So
Let me
yeah.
take a look. Get the camera over here so we can kind of see. And here we are peeking through the gate. Now, I'm not sure if you can hear the organ music, but I'm sure you can see the windows are pretty dark. And it stopped. And it started
it
again.
started again. Yeah, that is very odd. Very odd, considering that it's so dark inside there.
Right.
I don't know. Maybe they accidentally left the radio on.
Yeah, they got a radio that plays church music
Right.
in a church.
Yeah.
I don't know, ladies and gentlemen, but there you have.
So when you come around this side, you do see a little bit more light on this side than you do on the other. However, it's still kind of strange that there's somebody inside there at 10:25 at night playing the organ.
Yeah, right.
Very odd.
All right, so we are about to leave Colonial Williamsburg here, and an interesting night, I have to say. I've lost my place so many times with all the distractions that
Yeah.
I don't remember what I was talking about half the time, so if some of the stuff doesn't add up, the video was kind of pieced together, if you will.
Right, right.
Investigations, the mini investigations that we're doing were kind of interrupted by the ghost tours along with police.
Yes.
Not that we were chased by the police or anything like that, but they just they just came driving down the road.
Right. Right.
So, as they are once again now.
Yeah.
But I think Williamsburg is kind of like cursed when it comes to videos.
Definitely.
Because we tried to do a video about Williamsburg a little while back, and it was just awful. I mean, the video wasn't necessarily awful. I mean, it wasn't great, but it was so hard to put it together because every time we would set up a camera and start talking, someone would just come walking up.
Yeah.
So right where we were, just kind of walk up and just kind of stand there and like
stare at us,
yeah. Look around.
It was crazy.
You know, and there was this one. We were even down on the Colonial Parkway, halfway to Jamestown, to do a little intro video, and a car just comes pulling into the parking lot.
I know.
Right
and
next
this
to
was
us,
like the
just
area
out of the
was
blue.
deserted. There was
and then like
nothing
10 more
out there.
cars came to follow.
Yeah.
And you know, I think it's like a curse of Williamsburg. We go up to the corner here.
Yes.
We're like, all right, let's go up to the corner here by the Governor's Palace, and you know, we'll do a little video there. And a cop car pulls up and starts walking around in the Governor's mansion and shining lights through the window and stuff like that. Which brings an interesting point. In the Governor's Palace, a lot of people see a flashlight going along the second or third floor. I forget which one.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
or a light of some sort.
We noticed when we were out there in front of it, and the police officer was in there, that you could see his light going past the windows.
Around in there.
And it kind of makes us wonder, could that be what somebody's mistaking?
Yeah.
And maybe they just saw a light go by, his flashlight or something like that.
Flashlight.
And think, oh, that's, you know, the ghost of a nurse carrying a candle.
Right.
Who knows? But interesting thing down here, I didn't notice any difference in the activity. I never really noticed Williamsburg. It's got a lot of ghost stories, a lot of haunted places. But I can't say I've ever really seen anything crazy down here, anything too far out.
No.
One of the more interesting things, though, is the extremely high levels of EMF. And I know I've said this throughout the video, but like I said, I really can't remember because there were so many distractions and interruptions. But they're very high levels. They're all over. They're here. They're along the sidewalk. And some random spikes here and there.
Oh, yeah.
I can't explain the random spikes that come and go. But the consistent ones, you know, it looks like they have cables going under the ground or something like that.
Yeah, electrical cables or lighting cables for the lights. Yeah, so.
Right. And what are your thoughts as far as this investigation and Williamsburg and perhaps the effects of the activity? Or the game on the activity? Is it increased? Is it lowered? Is it the same?
I don't know. I mean, I'd have to say that it was just as quiet as it usually is. Normally we come down here and like Jeff said, there's really no activity at all. You know, I know people walk away from Colonial Williamsburg with photographs and all kinds of evidence, EVPs and things of that nature, but we've just never seen it. So, of course, we tend to be down here at times when there are a lot of people as well. So it could be that the presence of lots of individuals and, you know, the activity, maybe they hide when there's that much activity. I mean, I certainly would, you know. Right.
I'd be scared.
I would too, yeah.
You know, scared of people.
Yeah.
But like Linda said, there was one thing, I don't know if you remember, there's actually two things down here. And one was in this cemetery. There was a picture we took of one of those benches.
Right.
And it looked like there was something sitting on that bench. We couldn't really make it out what it was, but we couldn't come up with an explanation for it.
Right, because it was after hours. The gates to the cemetery were locked. You can't get in there after dark. And so there was actually no reasonable explanation for somebody to be sitting there.
Right, exactly. One other event was down here on the Duke of Gloucester Street?
Yeah.
I should know that, but you know, like I said, my brain is just not functioning tonight because of all the distractions and you know, just every time we're going somewhere, oh, here comes a ghost tour, here comes something else, here comes, you know, I don't know.
Yeah, but you said Duke of Gloucester Street.
Yeah, walking down there, and I took a picture, and it looks like we show this at all our conventions and stuff. This picture, it looks like there's kind of a mist coming out of one of the yards and onto the street. Or onto the sidewalk area. Could potentially have a face in it, depending on how you look at it. You know, what your brain puts together. I don't know, but definitely a mist there that is there in one picture and not in the picture immediately taken after, which was another pretty cool thing down here. But nothing too crazy. And here we are at close to 11:30, and there are still People
Lots
walking
of
around.
cars. Lots of
Still
people.
cars. People walking around
Yeah.
playing Pokemon Go. It seems like some of them are driving around playing it.
Yeah, I think I saw a kid on a skateboard.
There was a kid on a
you know,
skateboard playing it.
That was playing it,
yeah.
so they'll find any
Now that
means,
is
I guess.
talent. That's
It
talent.
is.
And here come some cars down the street here. You know, I can't say that I've even ever seen cars drive down this far.
I know, it's crazy. I mean,
I
it's
haven't.
just unreal.
But there's people in the back seats playing it, and people in the front seat playing it. You know, the driver's playing it.
Yeah. Yeah.
But the organ music in the church was pretty cool
Right.
because it's one of those things. What is that? Was somebody in there playing it? Could the
Right.
Phantom of the Opera be in there? Could a ghost be in there?
Yeah.
We don't know. But when we went around front, it seemed a little more like there was a light on in there. The organ music has stopped at this point. Most likely just someone in there practicing.
Could be.
But it's
yes.
pretty cool to think that there may have been a ghost in there.
Right,
But there probably
right.
wasn't, but it's still cool to think.
Yeah. Sure was.
So, you have anything else?
No, I don't think I have anything else to add. You know, I'd be interested to see maybe once all of this activity dies down, maybe later on tonight or something. I'd be kind of interested to see if maybe the activity spikes
Maybe it
after the
picks
people
up
leave
after it
and
dies
after,
down.
yeah.
That would be interesting.
But
would
who
be
knows?
interesting to see.
You know, there's no way to tell unless it's to come down here, check
right,
it out. So.
right. It's kind of like suppressing it and then letting it go.
Right, right.
But we'll see. Maybe we'll come back by. But until next time, I'm not sure where the next location is going to be.
Yeah.
You
We'll
know,
just have to
we
wait
have
and
a
see.
couple ideas and stuff like that. We want to keep tracking this and seeing, you know, like I said, these historical sites.
Right.
Bring all the Pokemon Go players out. And we're wondering if this increased traffic has any impact on the paranormal activity
Right.
at these
yeah.
locations.
Yep.
So there will be more. Subscribe to our YouTube channel if you like what you saw. If you did not like what you saw, subscribe anyway. Because like I
Yes.
said, they keep getting better. Although I do feel like the last video was a little better than this one.
Yeah.
But, you know,
yeah.
I mean, we're getting there. We're getting there.
Yeah.
Nonetheless, VAParanormal.com. Check us out on Facebook and Instagram at Virginia Paranormal.
Yep.
Until next time, I'm Jeff,
And I'm Linda.
and there's much more to see in the dark. Over here we have perhaps a colonial mode of transportation. Ladies and gentlemen, back in probably around, what would you say, like 1699? That's what they used to drive.
Is that what they used to drive?
I
wasn't
believe
aware
so.
of that.
Yep,
Wasn't
that's
aware
the
of
old model Toyota there.
that. Oh.
Yeah, the colonial one.